Viewers, welcome back to the show. Before the break, we're talking with Roberta Buchanan and Don Maffei about the role of Independence Australia. Roberta, it's a bit disconcerting for you to say that your staff have to dip into their pocket to support some of the clients that you look after. Why is that?
Unfortunately, not everyone who has a disability has got funding to deliver the services that they need to keep them independent at home. And quite often, I manage the in-home service, so we're the ones that are out and about with our clients, and we'll often come back into the office with a story about a client and how we need to help, and we keep on telling that story until we get help. And
Don, it sounds to me that the organisation doesn't knock too many people back.
No, it doesn't, Tony. But you've got the National Disability Scheme, which is in its infancy at the moment, and there's going to be a trial up in the Barwon Heads or the Barwon area.
We very much support the National Disability Insurance Scheme, and people can support that as well by joining up to Every Australian Counts website.
Okay. Now, what expectations do you have of your clients, Roberta?
We'll do a support plan with them and what that means to them. We deliver services through a person-centred approach, so we look at that individual, their circumstances, their family supports that they have, and we tailor our services around that supports that they require and around the funding they have available.
Now,
Don, it's a pretty tough gig looking after people in this situation. It's very hard on the counsellors and people that work in Roberta's position, don't you think?
It would be, Tony. And Roberta, I understand that you get involved not after discharge from hospital, say if they're injured in an accident or transport accident, you get involved before they're discharged. So it's quite important to get involved earlier on so the transition for them will be smooth, I guess.
Absolutely, John. You can imagine people who acquire their disability, that's a huge change in their lifestyle, and the emotions for them is absolutely catastrophic at times. And for their families, their friends, their supports, quite often family and friends don't know how to deal with somebody with a disability and will then begin to back away from that person, not intentionally, but they just don't know how to respond to that person. Our job is to work with the client and their families and support networks around them and make sure that they can return home and be safe and happy and get on with their lives whichever way they choose to do.
In terms of funding and trying to raise money, you've got some fantastic initiatives coming up. You've got the Steps for Independence, which is occurring on the 16th of November. What's that all about, Roberta?
Well, that's in support of Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Week, and we're all getting our walking shoes on and going out, stepping the streets of Melbourne and throughout Victoria to really show our support for people who can no longer do that. And you can donate $1 for every step you take, Tony.
And also, you want the public to join you, don't you?
We would absolutely love the public to join us, and they can register via our website, www.independenceaustralia.com.
And Don, the thing is this, there's a golf day on the 23rd of November. That's another initiative to try and help raise awareness.
Yes, that's right. And I think there's something else also, Tony, called Spin Chat, which is, as I understand it, is that you have people who are either acquired disabilities or actually disabled from birth, unfortunately, which go out to schools and just detail their lives to school children. Now, be secondary, I think it's mostly secondary, and just give them awareness about spinal cord injuries.
Roberta, the incidence of these sorts of disabilities in our society, is it becoming more common, or is it because we're more aware these days? What is it?
Well, it may be more common, and Tony, medical practices have really advanced. So people who are living with disabilities now that probably would not have survived in that car accident 20 years ago. Yeah.
And Don, I'd imagine that a lot of people with these sorts of disabilities would have short lives because of the psychological effects of the injuries.
Unfortunately, that may be the case, Tony, but it's a significant injuries that they go through, significant changes that they go through, and that's why support that starts off initially is just, there's no words to explain how important it is for these people, Tony.
Probably the community out there don't know much about what you do unless they're in that predicament themselves. So you really, really want to impress upon the public out there to get involved.
Absolutely, and I can say, although our clients have acquired their disability or have been born with their disability, we have clients that do some pretty amazing things, and every day I go to work and I hear about those amazing things, and that's what keeps me in the job. And we've supported our clients too. Recently a client went to the Paralympics in London and won gold, and when you hear those stories, it's just amazing.
Don, what do you think we can do to help this organisation?
Donate as much as we can. Either be you can actually, if you like, you can work for Independence Australia, or alternatively, if that's not what's for you, definitely donations will go a long way, and getting involved in these initiatives like the Steps to Independence or things like that.
Roberta, Don said donate, but what about people actually throwing your name around a bit more?
Hey, look, you can certainly have a talk about the services that we deliver. You may know a person with a disability that lives next door to you. Why not help them? Why don't go and give them a knock and see if they want to go for a coffee? And all the things that we might take for granted is not so easy for them. So you can help in many ways. Donations working for us, letting people know about our services who may not know him and may be entitled to services.
And counselling seems to be a big part of what you do, isn't it?
Counselling's massive. We have 2 psychologists at Independence Australia. That's an unfunded service that donations kindly support, and the counselling services focus on people with disabilities and their loved ones, their informal carers, their families, their friends, and supporting them with issues that they may have.
We'll have to get you back on another occasion and we can have examples of the people you've cared for and looked after. But is there anything else you want to say for tonight's episode?
We just really like to thank you for letting us talk about our organisation and the services that we deliver. And people can donate to Step Out for Independence on the 16th of November, or give us a call at Independence Australia and we'll let you know how else you might be able to assist.
Well, Don, it's an organisation that until we started speaking to the people that work in there, you really don't fully understand what they do.
We don't appreciate what they do,
No.
Tony. And like I said, I had the pleasure of attending the actual facilities in Collingwood, and it's just see this place, it's just a lot of people walking around, all there for the same common purpose, and that is just to help.
And it's
those
a pretty
people.
positive environment, isn't it, Don?
It definitely is.
Tony, if I could just say, that is the office staff, but we have over 400 support workers out there who will be out working on Christmas morning, getting our clients up so they can enjoy their Christmas, doing sleepovers with clients on Christmas night and away from their families, and they're the people that really make the difference.
Viewers, we've come to the end of the show. Roberta, I want to thank you for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
No
You're
doubt I'll
welcome.
get you on board for future episodes. Don, thank you for coming on
Thanks,
board.
Tony. Thanks, Brett.
Viewers, thanks for watching, and also please stay tuned for future episodes and always stay safe.